sense. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Okay. All right. How we guys? How we doing? How we doing? This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Good to see you guys. I'm back. I missed last week. I do apologize for that. Back after it. It's good to see everybody. Again, guys, the phone lines, like always, are up. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. If you want to be a part of the show, if you're new here, long story short, this is a caller-centric show. If you don't know who I am Aaron Bennett. I own Hack Nation. You can find us on social media. We are a diesel engine repair shop and a cutting-edge innovator in today's diesel engine products. Long story short, I try to give up some of my time every Wednesday night for a couple of hours to just try and help as many people as I can and to participate in the community, help answer questions. Again, this is a caller-centric show. You can call in, and I'll try to help you out with any questions you might have, help you solve any problems you might be having with your diesel engine or on-highway truck or things of that nature. We tend to try to have special guests on here to also help out with that in the comment section. Usually has some good power hitters in there helping out as well. And we do encourage you to participate in the comment section and to also call in. The number to call in again, guys, is 573-422-4225. If you're watching on TikTok, I do try to keep it as interactive as possible over there, but it is a better experience over on Facebook and YouTube. You can interact a little bit better there. But anyhow, what's up, you guys? Things don't change much, I guess. If you guys were wondering where we took off to, we went down to, went on some medical tourism and went down to a spa in Mexico, so to speak, and did a bunch of maintenance to our health. Have I ever dealt with Rush Truck Center? What's your take on that company? Yes, I've dealt with Rush Truck Center, which is the local Peterbilt here. I've always had good luck with Peterbilts, or Peterbilt, Western Peterbilt in North Dakota. Great guys, great company to work with. We do about 700,000 to $1 million a year with the Western Peterbilt in North Dakota, and then the Peterbilt here in San Antonio, Rush Truck Center. We do a couple million a year with them. And you guys have to understand that some of these companies, then you're run-of-the-mill guy that goes in there, because if you do a couple $1 million a year with a company, they kind of bend over a lot more for you. Bend over backwards. I don't mean bend over in the take it in the ass type of bend over, but they tend to, cater to you a lot more in this and that. So my experiences with companies like Rush Peterbilt is probably going to be more favorable than most people. So it's not really fair for me to give, oh yeah, they're the greatest. They kind of do any and everything for us, which is true. But that's not really a good reflection of, are they going to do any and everything for you? I don't know that, right? So, my experience with the truck has been phenomenal. But that we're doing a couple $1 million a year, phenomenal. So take it with a grain of salt. What is the difference between a BXS and an MXS? The biggest difference there, really, they operate exactly the same. Your BXS is, man, the internet is just terrible. I should have reset the internet before the show started, but the BXS is more like a 6NZ in where it reads on the cam and stuff like that. If you were going to try to convert a Acert strictly back to a 6NZ, it is vastly easier to do that to a BXS than it is an MXS, because the MXS reads in different, type C, Jake brake housings, just like this old 6NZ had. And they incorporated a VBA system that wrapped around the J cows, whereas you get MXS and NXS and stuff like that. Cat replaced the Jacobs brake with an entirely new system known as the Cat brake, and the BBAs were incorporated into the Cat brake. So it is quite a bit different internally, but as far as functionality, there's zero difference between the BXS and the MXS as far as basic engine operating. So anyway, I say it's good to be back. It's good to be back. Good to see all you guys. Should I put balancing beads in my drive tires or get centromatics? I always use balancing beads in all of my tires for the entire duration of doing trucking, but I always went and got the really heavy duty airsoft BBs because it's just much more economical. You guys have to understand though, I was dealing with hundreds of tires per year, not just a set of drives and a set of steers on one truck. We had all the 23 trucks times 10, times the trailers. It's going to be a hell of a lot of tires to balance. And I can tell you unequivocally, and in fact, I think they do quite a bit better job than like the sandbags that you can buy because the BBs in those are so tiny, they kind of get clumped and gummed together. And I can't tell you how many times they've taken the tire apart and they're just all in one big wad. So I'm a big believer in using airsoft BBs to balance your tire. We had phenomenal luck with it for 15 years. So okay, hang on here. Where's Tom the Bomb? I hope he knows he has an awesome uncle. I see a lot of comments recently where people are asking me about Tom the Bomb. There seems to be a lot of concern about him. He hasn't been here for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. He's been living, he was living with his brother while he was here. And his brother just, that's Timmy. And Timmy just had a new baby and newlywed to his wife. And it just started to become kind of some wear and tear, having a 15-year-old boy that's just figuring out what his wiener's for, so to speak, in the house, and just being a normal kid. So they sent him back to his mom back in Idaho. And he'll be there for probably another year, and then he plans to come back. So Tom the Bomb will be back, but for now he's taking a break from this life. So mainly to give his brother a break more than anything. Used to put in the tires, but a good way to figure it out, the brand, but the ones that they sell for 22.5 and 24.5 tires at all the tire stores, and look at how many ounces are in those bags. And I just mirrored what was in those bags when I was doing, I had a scale and a tub, and I would dump in the beads. We still have airsoft BBs here. Kind of ironic. I was looking at them today thinking, man, I should throw those damn things away. But we still have airsoft BBs here from when we were trucking really hard. We just packed them all the way. Yes, but then somebody asked there to steer on the inside. That is a negatory. I never saw any negative effects from using airsoft BBs as a balancing metric or a balancing medium. Never. I never saw any negative consequences from doing that, either to the rim nor to the tire, ever. So I can unequivocally sit here and tell you I highly recommend, and it is vastly more affordable. And from everything I've ever seen for 15 years of using them, they hold up substantially better than using the ones that you pay a lot of money for, the ones that are made for it. Counteract, I think, is like the biggest brand. I think that's what it's called. Just what size BBs? There's only really one size of airsoft BBs. The trick is to get the heavy duty ones, the really heavy ones. They have different grains. If you get the lighter ones, they're less expensive, but those ones tend to come apart. They'll shatter. you know, if you run them for an entire season, about half the beads will be broke down. So, and you have to use a shit ton more of them because they're not nearly as dense and heavy. So you get the, you know, spend the extra money to get the heavy duty, you know, airsoft pellets. You can use a lot less of them, and they're a lot more hardy, and they don't destroy themselves. Sorry you missed the number. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. And it looks like we actually have callers. We got 4 callers. I'll get to you guys here in just a second. Let's see. When are you going to make your own engine, brother? That's a good question. We build engines here all the time for sale. We sell a lot of engines. We sold 23 engines just in the last, I think it's been 60 days. And that was before Texas. Since I've been back from Texas, so I've only been back since Monday. We've sold 4 engines since I've been back. So we sell a lot of engines. The reason you never see me making videos saying, hey, we have this engine here is because they sell faster than we build them. Quite a bit faster. They sell about 3 to 4 weeks faster than we can produce them. So, you know, it's not something that we really advertise. We build a shit ton of engines that are for sale, like all the time. And they just, you know, and when you see me sending out 20 blocks and getting them back, those are all engines that we're intending to build and put up for sale. They just never make it. I've never successfully started an engine, completed it, make a video saying this engine is for sale. It's never happened. They always sell before we ever make it there. So anyway, let's get when you talk about your shot, I'm talking about using actual airsoft BBs. You just want to get the heavyweight ones. How long do they last? No, I've never had them not last. You know, personal experience may vary. I'm just telling you guys my personal experience with using them. You know, when I was doing hundreds of tires, you know, and I had the maintenance contract for Halliburton chassis. When we were doing hundreds and hundreds of tires. So it was really the only really cost-effective way. I mean, those counteract bead bags are like freaking $50 a freaking bag. It's ridiculous. But when you talked about your experience on the Alaska haul roads, you said you've run some higher horsepower B models. What engine serial number would you look for? Anything above 425? Which ones to stay away from? So, if you guys look at our videos, you'll notice there's been a lot of B models recently. We've done 4 or 5 B models in the last 2 months that are all 600, around 100 horsepower model. And we don't really worry too much about what engine serial number we're dealing with because we just convert them to what we want them to be, which we're going to put in, you know, like a 7 or man, I'm not good with my memory doesn't work good with stuff like that, like with names and serial numbers. We're going to to like a 3406C crank and put different rods in it. So we're going to make it into what we want because the rest of the engine is all the same anyhow. You know, it's really only the crank and the rods different, right? So if you get different crank, different rods, you can make them all into the engine that you want it to be. So what's the breaking news? The breaking news is I don't care. What's the breaking news? That's funny. All right, let's get to the callers. We've made them wait long enough. Daniel, the DD15. Let's see if the phone lines are working.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, man.
I want to see if I can pick your brain on a DD15, man. I'm going to run it down as quick as I can. I bought the truck, deleted DGR, DEF, all that, ran it for 800,000 miles. It cracked the liner, blew the rear main seal. Took it to a dealer, had them do an in-frame on it, $28,000, put 44,000 miles on the truck. Oil pan gasket was leaking, so I took it back for you to be part of the warranty. You know, they changed the oil pan gasket on with the truck ice and filled the oil pan up with water. I killed the truck, stepped out of it, and you can hear water running in the oil pan like a water hose.
Oh, well, that's not good. I mean, what's the question, though, I guess?
Well, I mean, what's your thoughts on what went wrong with it?
What's my thoughts on what went wrong with it? Well, I mean, if you're pouring coolant into the oil pan, which I believe is what you just said, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumping water straight into the oil pan.
So you probably shattered the liner, which means it probably threw a rod bearing.
Okay, that was my thought. I was just looking for a second opinion. I was thinking it busted a liner. The truck never smoked like it got on top of a piston or nothing. It just dumped the water in the oil pan.
Right, but it's not liner. The liner's probably not the issue, right? The issue is you probably spun a rod, and that rod probably took out the liner because it was able to move around too much.
I got you. And that would have been the knock. Spinning.
Yep.
That's kind of what I was thinking myself, but they was trying to tell me they thinking it's in the top end of the motor, and I said, man, there ain't no way, because the truck should have smoked something if it dumped water on top of the piston versus under them.
No, it's not on top. And of course, if you want me to speculate on why that happened, that's pretty hard to do. The pickup system could have been compromised because I'm going to guess it didn't get oil for some reason, right? And those DD15s are pretty finicky engines. Ask me how I know, right? And they
yeah, I've seen one you did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud to say we did more than one and didn't have any problems, right? We did we did a little slew of them, but because of that one experience, I'm just not willing to do them anymore. And if I need to do one these days, I just call Worldwide Diesel and they hook me up, right? And we've had really good luck with that.
Yeah.
And we have sent a lot of people to them. I would probably consider rebuilding one again just because their price point is so fair. I can't do it myself for a better price point than I can just get one from them. So, but as far as what happened, well, there's just a myriad of things with that DD15. They could have not primed the system correctly. If they didn't put a whole new pickup system on it, that thing probably got compromised. So it could be either of those two things.
Well, see,
they could have been dirty.
Whenever I had them rebuild, the motor, whenever they did the end frame on it, they changed the oil too. But like I said, I took it back for the oil pan gasket leak, and I'm thinking they let that oil pump sit there and drip until it lost prime. They didn't reprime it, and they dry started it, and that was the issue.
Certainly could have been.
Yes, but all right. That's all I needed to know, man. I was just wanting a second of a thought on it, you know.
If I was gonna guess from here, I would say that engine is fucking fucked. Like you're not.
Yeah,
that's kind of. You're not coming
kind
back.
of my thought.
You're not coming back from this one on that one. Call Worldwide.
All righty.
Have them hooked
up.
All right, later, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep, bye. Man, I'll tell you what, I have seen so much carnage just in the last 2 months. Just so much carnage of engines. I don't want to get into it. Really get into it. Accidentally bad mouthing people, so just not gonna get into it. All right, you're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey man, got a quick question for you. A couple weeks ago when you were on the show, somebody called in and they said they had a PACCAR they wanted to rip out of their truck, the newer truck, and they wanted to put something like an, older 34.6 in. My question is, how are you able to do that with a whole glider? They don't do gliders anymore. Like, that's not able to be done, at least from my understanding. They were only allowing like 300 a year, and I think they cut that out.
So I'm gonna say some controversial things here, but I want to clarify first, everybody listening, that I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, and I am just stating my opinion. Okay, but if you read the rules, the way that they're written by the EPA is regulating engines. They are not regulating truck chassis, and so because of that, so you have to understand how it works. So the EPA knows that Caterpillar produced, and I'm just going to pick out fake numbers so we can understand what I'm talking about. Caterpillar produced 100 engines, Cummins produced 100 engines, and Detroit produced 100 engines. That means that there's 300 known engines in the emissions world running and operating in the United States. Now, they regulate those 300 engines, but they do not regulate the trucks. So as long as you're not adding or taking away from the current amount of emissions engines away, you are not violating EPA rules. So if a guy takes a Detroit 60 series that is already part of what the EPA accounts for in the system, in the world as an EPA, an engine that they are aware of, and you take a DD15 out and you exchange those engines, you haven't added or taken away from the emissions, overall emissions in the United States. Does that make sense?
I do understand what you're saying. Absolutely.
So technically, the EPA has no business telling you what kind of engine you're putting into a truck, right? And again, I'm not a lawyer, but technically, guy had a good lawyer and they were trying to fuck with you. I think you have a good chance of winning that because you are legally you're better off changing the entire engine in a truck than you are deleting the engine that's in the truck. Because one of those is illegal as fuck, and the other one is technically not illegal.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But you got to understand the EPA kind of operates like the ATF does, where they just arbitrarily pull rules out of their ass and they have no problem taking you to jail for it. And then it's on you to defend yourself, right? So you got to remember that. So, like the ATF will randomly tell you you can't have a stock that is in this configuration. And next thing you know, they're taking you to jail for it. And yeah, you might win after you go to court and the Supreme Court says, yeah, you guys are full of shit. You can't just make up rules. Same thing with the EPA, right? But that doesn't mean that they won't put you in jail for it. But technically, if you look at the rules the way that they are written, you are way better off taking a PACCAR out, putting a CAT in, than you are deleting that PACCAR. Deleting that PACCAR is unequivocally illegal.
Illegal, yeah. No, I understand that. Okay, and so when they said no more glider kits, that's technically illegal, is what you're saying?
When they said no more glider kits, they were full of shit, and they're just saying that, and people are scared to challenge them. Because they don't regulate trucks.
Okay.
They can't tell you what engine is. So what would be illegal is if CAT made a new engine to put into your glider truck. But if you were taking an engine that's already been accounted for in the system of emissions engines accounted for by the EPA and put it in a truck, that is technically not illegal by their own rules. This is coincidentally is why places like Custom Truck exist and they're not in handcuffs.
Gotcha.
And this is also why places like PDI did end up in handcuffs, proverbial, because they were deleting trucks. You see the difference?
Yes, I do. Okay. All right. I see exactly what you're saying. I appreciate you clearing that up for me.
I'm not
my
advising
last
you to go
question
make
is-
a glider, by the way.
No, I totally understand that you, Aaron, are not advising me to go to the class. So I just wanted to understand that. That's all. My next question was, when you make your 640 builds, you do them, or you like to do them on the Acer platform. Do you replace the compound turbo and put a single turbo when you build the 640, or you are still two turbos?
We usually have one turbo on it.
Okay. So you just use the Acer block that you build around the block to just put the single turbo up there, the quick screw.
Something like that.
Okay. You just don't put two turbos. It's not two turbos. You don't build any engines that have two turbos on it.
No, we do all the time. I love twin turbos. I love the Acer in its original form.
No.
With the VVAs working. Love it. My favorite engine. Hands down. It's not people's
the one
favorite.
that has that special exhaust on it.
It's not the favorite engine that people want to buy from me. It is my favorite engine. The Acer in its original configuration is my favorite engine.
Okay.
I mean, if I was
all right, well, that answers my question.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Take it easy.
There's a big difference between building a glider and repowering a truck, says Joel Garner. I disagree. And what is the big difference? There's no big difference. Not within the parameters that I just laid out. If you take an engine that has already been accounted for as an on-highway engine and the overall engines that the EPA is aware that are out there running, and you put it in a truck that says glider, or you put it in a truck that doesn't say glider, you have done exactly the same thing. They are in practice, so subsequently also in reality, the exact same thing. One just has a different word. All right. On to the callers. I'm not sure. There's no name here. You're on the air, though.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Hit me with it.
Okay. I got a 3406B. I pulled the oil pan off of it. And I got about a half a pound of brass looking material, or copper material in the oil pan. But when I'm looking up in there, like the main bearings and stuff, I did a rebuild in it with the ceramic coating main bearings. But it's like the longest piece is like 6 inches long, but it's like paper thin. Could that be the oil cooler
Did you
that's shredded in it?
Did you say a half a pound?
A half a pound, yes. Half a pound.
I mean, not really. Not really going to be the oil cooler. You had bearings come apart.
There'd be multiple bearings in. That make that much?
That would be my guess. Yes, you have. I can't believe that it's. Does it still run?
We shut her down.
But why did we shut it down?
Well, so actually, what we were actually running it, we were driving it. It actually ran like it ran out of fuel. Well, it did run out of fuel. So we reprimed it back up, and then we realized that the turbo was acting up. So then we shut it off, and then we put a new turbo on there, and then drove it down the road, and nothing changed. So we shut it off.
What kind of oil pressure did it have?
I was getting 60 pounds. And temperature on the oil temperature was a little bit warmer than normal. It usually runs around like 180. It's kind of right around like 190 on the oil temperature.
Drop the pan, man. Drop the pan. Figure out where it's coming from. Make
I-
sure you
I
look really close at the
I already
can.
dropped. Okay, yeah, I dropped the pan already. That's how we found out we got a
Could be
half a pound of brass or copper.
right. Could be all cam bushing if you're lucky. Well, I mean, not lucky, but
Yeah, could something be in the injector pump? That wouldn't, because like I said, it acted like it ran out of fuel. It just died. Well, it did run out of fuel. Like it
not in
had a full
your
tank of fuel in there, and that's
not passed down into your oil pan like that. No way in hell. You
so it
need,
wouldn't suck the fuel dry then, huh?
you need to start dropping caps and figure out what happened. Like American Iron just suggested in the comment section. You got to start dropping caps. So, something.
Yeah, that's what we're planning on next week to drop caps. But
Yeah, I mean,
but I just ain't never seen like a, because I mean I've seen where the bearings went out. Usually you get like a little bit of a thicker. This is like paper thin, like a radiator cone to
I've
it.
seen it lots of times. It's just peeling
Okay, so yeah,
bearing off in strips. I mean, it's not abnormal.
So do you think I may have two things going on then? Something with the injector pump? Because like I said, it sucked it dry. Like it just the
No,
fuel. There was no fuel in there.
we
Back to
just
bleeding.
spent 3 fucking hours today getting the B model running that we just got done rebuilding. Sometimes they are a fucking bear if they run out of fuel. I mean, we were swearing up and
But we
down.
know that for a fact.
We were swearing up and down that the damn thing just that the hose had a hole in it. We replaced every hose and ended up being we just didn't try hard enough. So
Yeah. See, when we run them out of fuel, we take and use our air pressure and kind of push fuel into the tank to help prime it up while we roll it over.
So do we. So do we. You,
And that's still, huh?
you ain't gonna tell me any hillbilly tricks, brother. We know them all.
That's right.
But yeah.
Burn the starter if not.
Well, call back next week and tell us what you found because it's going to be brutal.
Okay. No, because that's what I was curious on. Because like I said, the fuel just like it ran out. We cracked the lines and there was no fuel in them. And I'm like,
I mean, it could be related,
But
but
for
I
us-
highly doubt it.
okay. No, I'll call back next week and tell you. Because like I said, and then I was saying half a pound of brass in there. I'm just like, man, that's a lot of metal.
Man. Well, I'm curious. Let us know.
Okay.
Have a good
Sounds
night.
good. We'll do that.
Better luck. Bye.
All right. You too, bud.
Maybe got out of time. I mean, he didn't say it was running bad, right? He didn't say it was running bad. So you think he has 2 issues? I don't know. When you're putting that much metal in the system, it can seem like you have multiple issues, but they're really all coming from that problem, right? So I don't know. I see a lot of people asking me questions about oil, what type of oil they should run. I have strong opinions on what type of oil you should run, but the reality of it is, guys, is that's only relevant if you're taking the oil out to some extended period. So what's the best oil to use is the one that you're willing to change often. Honestly, I mean, in this day and age, let me clarify just a little bit more. We'll get right back to the callers, guys. Hang on. In this day and age, there's not even any such thing as a tier 2 oil anymore. Everything's at least a tier 3. Everything has been hydrocracked at least one time. So you almost can't buy an oil that isn't going to at least perform to that 10,000 to 12,000 mile range and be just fine, right? Whether I think you should use a full synthetic, like somebody just commented, and go further is neither here nor there. The truth of the matter is, should you use Schaefer's? Should you use Cinepec? Should you use Rotella? Well, I don't really think it matters. You should use the oil that you're willing to change, and the more often, the sooner you change it, the better off you are, unless you're running some kind of external device like a oil bypass filter or something like that. I highly recommend an oil bypass filter. To answer the question from YouTube there by Paul, 100%. In fact, I'm such a believer in them that we have our own coming very soon. We got signed up with AMSOIL to start featuring theirs because I'm going to put them on every engine that we build as part of the warranty. We're going to start requiring that you run one to have a valid warranty because they make such a big difference. And I want the engines that we build to go 1,000,000 miles and not be compromised because the guys running them don't do their oil often enough. Back to the callers. Michael, I think you're on the air.
I've got a 98 Jeep that's got a Detroit in it. I'm on my third overhaul in 2 years. It's been in the shop 10 months this last time. The gate brakes come apart with the cylinder. They didn't warranty none of it, so it just put a warranty head on it. I made it 4,000 miles. Dropped the gate brakes, went through the cylinder, and then while they were redoing that, they called and said they got a fan clutch was out, and they said it wasn't going to have warranty if I didn't have it rebuilt. I said, well, rebuild it then. And now the fan clutch won't come on since they done all that. And they just wired it up direct and told me, come get it. There ain't no warranty on it. I said, fuck you. I paid you $45,000. I'm not picking it up with no warranty. They took it to Peterbilt. So they charged $2,000. They put a solenoid on it, done some wiring, and they can't figure it out. Would it be in the dash? I mean, it's the fan, the run is air operated, correct?
Well,
is what it operates off of when it gets 200 degrees or whatever, 205.
I'll be honest with you. I had a really hard time understanding you there. But long story short, to answer your question, that is an electric over air system. And what that means is that it electronically activates the solenoid and allows air to pass through it. Long story short, most of the time it is the solenoid that's the problem, but not always. So it's either the switch, the solenoid, or the brake on the fan clutch itself, or the fan clutch itself, right? It's going to be one of those items there. And then if it's none of those, then it's the wiring in between, or it's the ECM. Most of the time when you're dealing with a post overhaul problem with the fan, it is almost always the electric over air switch. It's very common for those to go out during an overhaul. Ask me why. I don't know, but I would say 1 out of every 10 we have to replace. Now, what ends up happening a lot of times, and I couldn't hear you before, what kind of engine was this again?
It's a 60 series.
Okay, so there's 2 different kinds of switches here, okay? You have always open and always closed.
Yeah.
And
right.
It's highly likely that they have the opposite kind on there on accident. That would be the first thing I would check.
I told them that, and they just arguing with me now. And I wondered about if it's the switch, the thermocouple that goes in head, where it gets the temperature from. No, I don't know what it is.
Is your fan staying on all the time?
No, it won't even engage unless you flip it to 12 volts. That's the way they wanted me to come get it. It was running all the time. It locks up on me, and I just unhooked the solenoid and ran it for a minute like that. And I tried to get them to fix it, and I've been messing with them It's been in the shop for 10 months this year, since January.
All right. So
I drove it 20,000 miles.
hey, here's the thing, brother. I certainly can't
Uh,
fix it from here, but what I can tell you is that there's a myriad of things that can cause the fan to stay on. Sounds like that was your original problem. You can have sensors causing that. You can have this is a very likely one, the AC, your high pressure and low pressure switches on the AC
Yeah.
can be causing that. So if it was me and
Yeah.
I was in your shoes, I would go back.
Locked up now. I mean, it won't run unless you get the toggle for front on turbo. It won't run on air side.
Okay.
When it gets to 200, it don't kick on.
Right. But I would go back to the beginning and put it back to the way where it was running
Okay.
all the time and then go backwards from there.
Okay.
Need to get it back to the point where it's
Okay.
running all the time, where it was originally messed up, and then figure it out from there. That's how I would do it. And
Okay.
running all the time is preferable to not working at all.
Y'all toggle switch that you forget to turn on, or somebody forgets to turn on.
And sure, I mean, if you can turn it on with a switch and you're the one driving it, you'd be fine. But
Yeah. No, I am, but I've got to get it, the son of a bitch to run over 20,000 miles before I let somebody else drive it.
sure.
Anyway, I was just wondering if you, because we tried an ECM, a different ECM didn't work. We've done it. So,
Yeah, it was never
but
easy.
anyway. But I'm curious about that. That sounds like it's pretty common.
Well, like my buddy James would say, start narrowing it down. And do the
Okay.
process of elimination, man. Good luck with that one, though.
All right.
All right. Man, is it just me, or man, I'm having a hard time hearing the last couple callers. Timmy Friesen says, I spent thousands on my fan, was staying on all the time. It was just the AC overcharged. You have a good issue. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. We still have an hour and 20 minutes left. You got plenty of time. There are 5 people on hold, so we will keep getting after them. There's no way it's at a dealership and they can't figure it out. It's not that difficult. I wouldn't say there's no dealerships are still human beings as well. The number, guys, is 573-422-4225. 573-422-4225. Back to the callers. Winston, I think. You're on the air, brother.
Howdy.
Hey.
How are you?
Well, good. I can actually hear you. What can we do? What can we do for you?
Good deal. I got just out of curiosity here. The boss bought a truck off an auction, and it's got a 12.7 in it. Like, I'm not afraid of 12.7s at all, but if I remember right, the 12.7, like, I guess my main question right now is, most factory trucks that you get, what are most 12.7 set at?
Oh, that can vary widely.
For, like, yeah. I mean, I understand that.
I mean, you have a D.
I just didn't know.
I would have to know. Do you have a DDEC 2, DDEC 3, DDEC 4, DDEC 25? I mean, that's going to tell you more than anything, right? So you're, the real big difference between all of those was the increase in horsepower. With each subsequent series of engine they came out with, they dramatically increased the horsepower. And your DDEC 4 can can handle and was rated and was usually came with an advertised horsepower vastly over what a DDEC 2, for example, would have pushed. But really the top end on any of those is going to be right around 500 horsepower. That's going to be like your top end of what you're going to see.
Well, with like you're saying that, like with then longevity, without doing things to it that you probably shouldn't do to have it on the road every day.
Are you asking me what a guy could safely push one to? Or are you asking me what they would have came from the factory?
I guess it's a little bit. I mean, I've heard that you can push them to 600 without. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to push them to 600, and I know that. But I'm saying, like, we get the truck, he brings it home, let's say next week or whatever, when we get done with corn. Yes, I don't have the program to do it. Years ago, I could look into it, but I can't now. Whatever. On top of this relates back to my question, like if it has an EGT sensor in it, what would you safely push a 12.7?
Depends on if it had depends on if it had oilers for the pistons or not. And if it does, we build 12 here. But really comes down to the on the ECM, whether that's going to be reliable 550 horsepower if you're going to have big problems, right? Guys talk about taking those 12.7s up to ridiculous hours, but here's the thing to remember: I don't care how much horsepower you put to a 12.7, you can take it up to 700 plus horsepower, and a 475 Caterpillar is going to rip its guts out because your Caterpillar has much more displacement, right? You're talking about a 12-liter engine versus a 14.6 or even a 15-liter engine. So I don't agree with trying to do that to a 12.7 anyway, because to get it to those horsepower ratings, you are having to really walk the dog on that thing. It just doesn't have the displacement for it. The 14-liter, the DDEC 5, the 14-liter, or is that the 6, whatever, the 14-liter version of the 12.7, those ones we take up to 600 horsepower all the time. We have a special build that we do that is 600 plus horsepower, and we're very comfortable doing that, right? Don't have any problem doing that with the 14 liters. The 12.7s, you're just creating a time bomb that's not even going to do what you're hoping it's going to do anyway, because the displacement isn't there to support it.
So let's say if we kept it, like if it came here, got it checked out, left it at 500. Again, I mean, a lot of questions here for you because you don't know, and I don't know. If you kept it at, let's say, 475, 500, would just run it.
I mean, if you want it to last a long time, you need to take it to the top of the CPL it's rated for. Let's say that's 500 horsepower. If you have a 500 horsepower 12.7 and you want to throw a good manifold and turbo on it, you might be able to get her up to 5.25, 535, somewhere in there. And you're not really taking away from its longevity. You're probably increasing it some. That's probably the route I would take.
Well, I mean, again, like I got a lot more questions, whatever, but we're going to cut her short. You got more people on. You got more questions to ask, and I really appreciate your time.
Oh, you're fine,
and
man.
You have a good night, sir.
Thank you. You too. I feel like maybe I wasn't answering the question the way that he wanted me to, or maybe I didn't understand exactly what he was saying there. But anyway, do you guys do wiring on 379s? And 14 Select Plus. We try not to do any wiring at all. Wiring is such a nightmare. Anyway, back to the callers, guys. Rick, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, yeah, I've got I just recently built I got 379 Peterbilt, and I switched the block to an ACERT block. It had a 6TS block in it, or the E model, and we put the ceramic top pistons, Teflon coated bearings, and 3-stage head on it. And I put a C18 Marine cam with a set of 955 injectors. And I'm wanting to know what's the best tune to run with that.
So you have a C6TS ECM, 6TS internals.
Yep, it's a 40.
With an ACERT block. I'm assuming an ACERT crank.
No, it's got the
just
it's
ACERT
got
block.
the 6TS.
And then we put a Marine cam in it and big ass injectors for that belong in a 5DS, I believe. What tune do you put in that?
I mean, I had to go. I went with the bigger injector because we did this motor, and the injectors that I put in it, the first set of injectors, it ran too lean, and it scored the piston.
Well, I kind of doubt that's what scored the piston, but neither here nor there. I mean, there's no tune that I know of that is going to marry those things up properly, and you're not going to have shit tons of problems. I mean, if you want the real answer that from me, that's it. I think that's a horrible configuration there, and you're gonna spend a lot of time in shops, and this isn't going to be the first time that you cook it and blame it on something like running too lean. I think you're going to cook it multiple times until you give up on what you're doing there. That's my opinion. There is no tune. There is no magical tune for that might fix your problem. You know, if you go and put a 6TS tune in it with the way you have it configured, it is not going to like that at all. And if you go put a 5DS tune in it or something like that, you're certainly going to burn that thing to the ground very quickly. And since you have a 40-pin ECM, you're limited pretty much to those two tunes for that thing. So no matter where you take it, somebody's going to do one of those two things to you. And either way, it's not going to work out.
So what do you suggest?
I don't know. I mean, we build a lot of 6TSs here, and we build them up to 600 horsepower, but we do it by using the highest factory tune that we can. We may add a little bit of fuel number to it, retard the timing some, but everything is stock, so to speak. And we use good turbos and good manifolds and run there right around in that 600 horsepower range.
That so you're saying that C18 Marine cam's too much?
I wouldn't put that in any on-highway truck in the world. Guys ask me to do it all the time, and I tell them just go somewhere else and do it. It's not going. It's not. It doesn't ever run really good again, and it's just not meant for it. There are camshafts out there that you can use that work really well, but that's not one of them. Kind of the same thing. That C18 camshaft is not set up for that 60S. The timing's always going to be all fucked up on it.
Right. Oh, well, that answered my question.
All right. Well, good luck with that one, brother. I think you're going to spend a lot of time in the shop if you don't scale back a little bit. Just my opinion.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Have a good night. Put a tugboat tune in it. Back to the drawing board. Yep. And of course, guys can do whatever they want. If you're calling, I'm just going to give you my opinion on it. Will you export parts to Australia? Yes, we actually have sent quite a few kits to Australia recently. We've had quite a few people call us, and from there, we have a huge audience in Australia, and I get a lot of calls from Australians that want to talk to us about getting stuff, and we have figured out how to get parts over there. It takes a while, but we figured it out, and it's actually, I mean, obviously the shipping's kind of expensive, but it's not so expensive that it's, when I talk to Australians about what they pay for kits there that are like readily available there and stuff like that, boy, it's comparable. I mean, fucking boys over there. Sorry. What kind of torque does your 640 builds produce? We just had one dynoed a little bit ago. It was putting 680 horsepower out. I can't remember what the torque was on it, but it did really good. I know that. Darren, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hey, it's 2013 Kenworth, and the issue I'm having is I had right at 10 ton of boost loss. And normally when it does that, the DPS system starts plugging. I do a lot of idling. I'm a sand hauler up here in North Dakota. So, I said to hell with it, and I deleted the truck, and I still had that 10 pound of boost loss. I had replaced the air-to-air. I replaced every boot. I replaced fuel filter, air filter, every injector harness, and I'm kind of down to a loss on where that boost went.
When you deleted it, did you change the turbo to a non-VGT turbo?
It's already a non-wastegated turbo, so no, I didn't touch the turbo.
What kind of engine? What kind of engine was it? Maybe I missed that part.
It's got the 60. Oh, I'm sorry. It's got the 605 Cummins in it.
And it doesn't have a VGT turbo?
Oh yeah, it's a VGT.
Okay, so that's the problem.
Yep.
The VGT turbo is not actuating all the way. That's been the problem from the beginning.
Okay. Well, it had done this before I deleted it.
Yeah, I understand. It has nothing to do. That's what convinces me even more, right? Because your boost losses, it's not sliding all the way. That's what's happening. Change the turbo.
Okay, good.
Problem.
Okay, yeah, that was actually my my next guess. It was that or the barometric pressure sensor, but normally that would throw a code, and it's throwing no codes.
Unfortunately, you did everything but that, and that was the problem. I try to be modest on here and not act like I know everything, but I'm like 99%. It's the turbo.
Well, I really appreciate it. Yeah, when I did everything else, I mean, we found a crack in the air-to-air, so I replaced it and did the tests on the injectors, and 4 out of 6 failed, so replaced all those. But, well, I guess that answers my question, man. I really appreciate it.
Have a good night, man. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye. What the hell is a 605 Cummins? A 605 Cummins is a 605 Cummins. We build almost every Cummins that we come across. We build it back into a 605. I don't know what you're laugh out louding about, but 605 Cummins is a thing. Another way to refer to them is the 600 high torque, but their actual advertised rating is 605. Anyway, back to the callers. Daniel Nault, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? I got a MXS cat in a Kenworth, in my W9 Kenworth. Since my last, it got rebuilt, gold kit rebuild on it about 600,000 kilometers ago. I'm from Canada, so I'm not sure what that is in miles. But my last oil change, he's all of a sudden started drinking oil. I've gone through almost 2 gallons of oil in the last 2,000 kilometers, and it's not leaking anywhere. So I'm curious where it would be going.
You pull a lot of hills and stuff.
Not a ton. No, I run from Winnipeg to Wisconsin and Iowa with straw. So I'm pulling about 90,000 pounds all the time, but he's not, like, he's set at 550 horsepower and he's not working hard all the time because he's geared, he's got 3 9.0s in the back. So I only do about 63 miles per hour all day.
My pocket guess, especially since it's an Acer, is that you have a broken ring, and that's why it just magically started consuming oil. You've probably broken 1 or 2 rings. The Acers are more prone to shattering their top ring than any engine I've ever seen. It is especially the BXS compared to the MXS and the NXS, but they're all more prone to it than any other engine. Based on my own assessment.
Okay.
If you went from everything's running fine, everything's still running fine, doesn't seem to be any change in anything, but all of a sudden you're consuming a mass amount of oil and you're not leaking any of it, it screams broken ring.
Okay. Yeah, like he's always like I do about 20,000 kilometers to an oil change, and generally, like, I'm about halfway through an oil change, and generally I'll add maybe a gallon on 20,000 kilometers, but I'm already over 2 gallons already.
Yep. Most likely a broken ring, brother.
So, okay. One other question I had was, what's your take on single turboing it?
Well,
Good or bad?
One guy says if you had a broken ring, he would have high blow by. And that is true-ish to an extent. It's not necessarily the rule. You could have a blow-by catchment. I don't know. I haven't seen your engine. But
no, I don't.
So typically when you have a broken ring and the engine is hot, like completely warmed up, and you're sitting there at an idle, and you have broken rings, you will see a marked amount of blow-by. Like, it'll be an annoying amount of blow-by when you're sitting there in the engines at 190, 200 degrees. If it's lower than that, you don't necessarily see much blow-by. But are you noticing blow-by, like when you're pull up to a stoplight? Is it like, can you see some blow-by coming up?
Not generally, no.
Yeah.
No. Like, we're cold enough. We're kind of got cold here the last couple nights, and I ran them overnight, and like on the asphalt here where I parked, there was a spot maybe like the size of 2 dimes worth of oil on the ground. Not even. So he's not like, and that was him running at 1,000 RPM overnight.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's the only other thing it can be, right, is you guys have wet stacked it really bad and completely washed it out. right? You're looking at one of those two. In other words, the liners are smoked. I mean, of course, you could add an oiling issue as well and have a smoked liner completely, but man, you'd really be experiencing blow by then. So I doubt that. You can kind of rule that one out. So you either have totally glassed out liners, or you have a broken ring. And just considering that it's an ACERT and it's just a magical out of nowhere problem, I'm going to guess broken ring.
Okay.
You'll know soon enough. You'll know soon enough if it's, if it's freshly broken and it hasn't really wore out the liner that bad. Your blow by can be pretty minimal from that. But when you're under load and you have shit tons of boost pressure pushing out on that ring and it's broken, you're going to be pushing a lot of oil out, right? And it won't be so pronounced when you're just sitting there at an idle. But as it swipes that liner out and puts a big groove in it, then you're going to start to notice a hell of a lot more blow by at an idle when you're warmed up.
So if I'd put something to catch the oil out of the blow by to see if it's blowing it out the blow by, would that kind of tell me then?
I mean, I think it's going to show its face anyway.
Okay. Just a matter of time.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably just need to throw a re-ring kit at it, brother.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Thank you.
Did a gold kit last time. Perhaps do a silver kit this time. What causes the ACERTs to break rings? Well, my theory on what causes ACERTs to break rings so much more than all the other engines is that the damn things put 50 to 60 pounds of boost onto those rings, and that is a hell of a lot of pressure pushing out from the lands into the sidewalls. It's just a hell of a lot of pressure in general. So anyway, Matt Whipple says, I haven't found much difference between the 565 and the 605. Well, Matt, that's because you have to actually haul manly loads in manly hills to be able to experience that horsepower, brother. I'm just kidding. Jay, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, man. I want you to know that you're doing a great job. Really, I'm a follower. Been, you've inspired me. You've taught me a lot. This is my first time, so it's an honor talking to you for the first time. So, yeah. With that said, I have kind of like a two-part question type of thing. You know what I mean? I have a DD13, right? I know, it's not a Cat or Cummings, but I have a DD13 that I got swapped out because of the first one failed because of spun. And I got another one in there. It was a hard start. The mechanic said that the rings slept, something to that effect. And so I couldn't get it to start. I mean, we tried until we put some oil in it or whatever, but eventually it started on. For some reason or the other, the oil pressure gauge was not working on the dash, so the computer be shutting it down is the theory I got. But really what I want to ask is, what should I do about those sleeping rings? Do you recommend a re-ring kit type of thing, or or what do I do?
I mean, completely grasping I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm not completely grasping what you had done here. Did you have your engine worked on?
No, so the one that spun the bearing,
Mhm.
the mechanic said I should just swap it out. So we got
Okay.
another DD13
Mhm.
engine, put it in, and we couldn't get it to start. There was no compression,
Okay, right. And then
right? So there was no compression, and
you
we kept.
eventually got it to start, right?
Yeah, he poured some oil in it and let it sit for a while, and it got into whatever, I don't know, and then it ended up starting,
And it
but
doesn't and it
it
doesn't have
wouldn't
any oil
stay on.
pressure. Right, because it didn't have any oil pressure. That I'm gonna say that your second engine is a piece of shit and it's no good.
Even though there is oil pressure on the manual gauge, there's oil pressure. There's just no oil pressure on the dashboard.
I don't know. It's not sounding very promising if we have to put oil and stuff on top of the pistons because it sat for so long it was frozen in place.
Yeah, no, not well. Yeah, that's what he said. He said the rings, the rings slept because the engine it sat for so long. It wasn't started or running when we got it.
Right. I mean, so what's your question though?
It's a 5 1/4 DD13. I would still want to run it. I still want to use it. So I'm wondering if you think that is fixable with a re-ring kit.
I don't. No problem that you have mentioned on it says that you need a re-ring kit, right? I would do something about confirming that you're getting oil pressure to everything. I mean, what kind of oil pressure were you seeing on the rifle with a manual gauge? What was it? What was it showing there?
Yeah, it was all the way up there. I think it started. It was about 60
Okay.
psi or somewhere. Oh, you get the oil pressure was up there.
Oh,
This
okay.
was a while back,
So,
by the
it
way.
sounds like your gauge isn't working properly. You need to get that working properly and go trucking.
Yeah. So, I don't know, something about that engine. You know what I mean? Because so you said none of these problems means that I need to, get a different set of rings put in. So to get the proper compression.
There's no such thing as just throwing a set of rings in it. You're overhauling it again. That's what you're doing when you're doing a re-ring kit. You are overhauling the engine again. Okay, so you're talking about doing a major overhaul. Just because a re-ring kit's only like $1,800 or something doesn't change the labor portion of that. You're proposing to do a major overhaul. Oh, what? I mean, if I was in your shoes, I don't know how much you paid for that engine, but I would go a different route probably. If you're trying to salvage this whole thing, sounds like the place that sold you that engine sold you a pile of shit. As soon as it didn't turn over and we had to put oil on top of it and bar it over and do whatever we had to do to get it going again, I would have walked away from that immediately.
Okay. And what direction do you suggest I go?
I don't have a suggestion other than what I would do, right? Is what I would do is I would call Worldwide Diesel and get them to sell me a DD13 drop-in and put it in its place and go trucking for another 1,000,000 miles. That's what I'd do.
Okay. What about a repower? What do you suggest I would, I could put in place?
Yeah, it's very cost prohibitive. I'm all about it. Let's do it. But, if you got out and we're one of the most reasonable places to get it done. If you got out of here for under 70, I'd shit my pants.
Oh wow.
You can
On
probably
70
get,
for
yeah, give Worldwide a call, see what they can do for you. Those guys have very reasonable prices. I bought engines from them anywhere from 18 to 26, long block pluses from them. But at least you have something that's completely overhauled and good to go.
Okay. All right. So yeah, my other quick question. For an ISX running day cab, getting horrible fuel mileage with 450 Cummins, ratio of 390 ratios. Not getting, I'm getting under 4 miles per gallon. Suggestions on how to get better fuel mileage.
Oh man, depends on what you're hauling, man. Depends entirely on what you're hauling. If you're hauling heavy, that's not enough horsepower, and that's why you're not getting good fuel mileage. If you aren't hauling heavy and you're still not getting good fuel mileage, you need to start looking at why that could be. It could be air filters. Literally, it could be air filters are not doing a good job. It could be it needs a good overhead ran on it. It might be it drives slower. Yeah, literally, you could be going way too fast. RPMs are way too high. You might be able to adjust the way that you're driving. Better fuel mileage. There's
Yes,
a myriad.
Yeah, I'm up to 1700 RPMs, 1800 at times too. Air filters are pretty good. They're brand new. So I know that's it's not there. I was wondering, if I could, somehow, get different differentials, and probably that could help.
Or slow down.
Huh?
Slow down. Get your RPMs down. Slow down.
Slow down?
Yeah, slow down. Literally, slow down. It's a lot cheaper than changing out the differentials.
Yeah. Yes. 65 miles an hour is not that fast.
If you're at 1,700 RPMs at 65 miles an hour, yeah, your gear ratio is fucking you over. But anyway, brother. DD13, I would just try to figure something else out. I think you're getting hosed there. And as far as your fuel mileage thing, sound like you don't have the proper truck for the job you're trying to do with it.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. All right, man.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye. We have a shit ton of callers. I'm going to try to get to all you guys. Caller 26 here is the last one to call in. And just so you guys know, I'm probably going to cut it off there. We have, what do we have here? We have 36 minutes. And there's 10 callers. So might be cutting it close here. I don't want to be here all night. I'm happy to be back. And love all you guys to death, but I do want to go home sometime. Somebody in the comment section on TikTok has asked me like 45 times, do you work on Volvos and Macs? And I keep forgetting to answer that. And they keep asking over and over. The answer to that is no. We do sell engine kits for those, ceramic coated and all that. But we don't work on them. Thank God. How do I keep my rings from breaking on my Acert? Long story short, it's kind of random from what I've seen. I've owned a lot of Acerts, and we obviously rebuild shit tons of them. In fact, we have the most Acerts we've ever had at one time. I think we have about 18 Acerts here we're working on all at one time. And as far as rings breaking on them, guys, it's super random. I've never seen any kind of scenario where like, that's what broke those rings. I had a BXS that I was hauling fuel up there in Alaska, and I had her cranked to the moon. I never broke any rings on that thing. And then I turned it down when I got to Georgia. I didn't need all that horsepower. Turned it back down to a 550, and I broke a ring like 2 weeks later. I mean, go figure, right? And I certainly wasn't seeing 60 pounds of boost hauling around in Georgia while we were there. I mean, I'd be lucky if I was seeing 40, 45 pounds of boost, So, I don't know what the magical thing is that breaks the rings on the Acerts. All I know is that consistently we see them with broken rings with no other problems, just broken rings than any other engine. So, it's a thing. What do you think of as the best operating range for a BXS? I think for any Caterpillar engine is pretty close to what Bobby says there, 1100 to 1800. Cat would agree with that. I don't totally agree with that. I think that you should limit your top end to 1700 and really should be shooting for 1600. That's my opinion. The engine will last longer, and it will certainly get substantially better fuel mileage if you keep it 1600 and below. Anyway, back to the callers because there's so many of them. You're on the air. I don't know how to say your name.
It's Isaiah.
Oh.
I was calling because I got a 2003 Freightliner, has that 12.7 Detroit, and on the driver's side, right there where the starter, on the side of the block, it has like little plastic bushings, like small pins along there, and I keep on getting a small leak, the one behind the starter. So I don't know what those little rubber grills are for.
You have oil coming out of them?
Yeah, it's just one of them. Because I think there's like 3 on that side. The one that's behind the starter is leaking oil.
Yeah, so those things are early warnings telling you that your liner O-rings have been compromised and you're about to be fucked.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, well, we might go holler off over there to your shop.
Well,
after season.
Neither here nor there on that. What I do know is you are an O-ring away from catastrophic, so you need to take care of it.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. And I got another question. I have an early 5EK Caterpillar E model, and it has everything's fine on it except for it drops a valve in piston number 1, and I was wondering what's basically the most easiest way to get that motor up and running, because I've pulled it out of my truck, but I'm not there right now, but wanting to see what would be a cost efficient way to get that motor up and going.
The most cost-efficient way is to buy a cylinder head and one piston pack, pull out the cylinder head, change the piston pack that you dropped a valve on, and change the cylinder head. That's the most cost-effective thing you can do.
Okay.
But it is the exact same job as overhauling the whole engine. So you need to weigh that against your budget and decide if you want to do the whole thing.
Okay. All right.
All right, brother.
Those were my questions.
And if
Appreciate it.
One other thing, if you have struck the head, I highly recommend changing the rod as well.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I took him off the head off, and it did strike
Yep.
the bottom of the head.
So you want to redo that entire hole. Okay.
Oh, all right. You replace the crank as well? Is that what you said?
Nope. You need to do that hole. That would be your rod, your liner, your piston at minimum, and a new cylinder head.
Oh, okay.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Alrighty, I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, bye.
What do you think about these shops that say aftermarket kits are junk and a waste of money? I was just watching a video of a guy saying that, trying to say that, basically what you're saying there. You know, it's not really worth getting in the huge argument about, but what I can do instead of saying, oh, he's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about, is just point out a few things. Number one, I've been doing this a long time. We did 300 and something engines last year. We're on track to do 300 and something this year. And we've been doing it for a long time. So if you just include these last 2 years, we did 600 some odd engines and exclusively used aftermarket kits and a little plethora of pretty much everybody out there. Right? There's not like only one kit I use. Right? So that would be from Mimo to AFA to PAI to Interstate McBee to even pretty much the only one that we don't use is PDI, to be honest with you. I do have some preferences, of course, and some engines use on purpose. For B models, I really prefer to use an IPD kit, so to speak, right? We have one of the most highest success rates in our builds of anyone in the United States, and we don't use OEM at all. So, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is they're full of shit. What I can tell you is that OEM parts, unequivocally, are all remanufactured, and they could be on the multiple time of being remanufactured. And in my experience, OEM stuff is far inferior to the aftermarket stuff that's all brand new. We tested parts extensively as we're getting ready for our own product lines to come out, which we have all our products now, by the way. We're only waiting on our damn boxes. There's been a bunch of delays on the box. We're looking at another, what they tell us, 3 weeks. 3 weeks we'll have our boxes finally. We'll finally have our own kits. But to build those kits, we tested everybody's shit, and everybody outperformed the OEM. Everybody. So I guess my answer would be people that say that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Pretty much. I'm not saying OEM didn't build good stuff. They did. But they're not currently. Jason, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hey, so I just thinking about that PDI and all your where you get your kits and stuff. I got a kit from Highway and Heavy. I'm going to rebuild the motor, but I'm going to put some heads on it. And you talked about making those a 605. I know that's not the question we thought we were going to answer, but can I turn that N14 into a 605 by changing the heads?
No. So your N14,
No.
The best you're going to do with that N14 and still have an engine on the other side, right? Obviously, there's all kinds of dumbass shit you can do to it, but have an engine on the other side that operates and you make money with, and it's there, a couple 100,000 miles from now, and you're still making money with it. The highest that I feel comfortable pushing one up to is around 550. And we only do that using performance parts, right? The CPL is going to be set to a 5 1/4. I prefer the 25/25 CPL. That one we have the best luck with. We get all the timing set up on it. Then we're going to be focusing in on transferring more of your thermal energy to kinetic energy to get more horsepower out of it. Doesn't mean doesn't mean we won't occasionally bump up the fuel a little bit, right? I'm not saying that we don't do that, but we're talking, in the 10% minus.
Yeah. So it goes through 4.5 gallons of oil a day.
Holy
So
fuck.
I gotta rebuild it. Yeah, it is. But you know what? It's leaking a lot, and a lot of it's coming out of the or the backflow or whatever, the backflow tube.
Yep.
But so I'm gonna do it. I'm just making some money to get ahead, but I'm disabled and I've got a broken hip. I'm waiting to get that fixed, and so I'm trying to put some money together. But anyway, this transmission I bought, the old one that had a 9-speed in it, and I lost reverse in it, and so I found this transmission. It was a 15-speed, and it's a low reduction 15-speed, and I didn't really want to put it in. Said it was good. So we put it in the truck, and then I paid $1,000 for it. And they put it in the truck. They charged me $6,800, and third gear slips out, and I don't have a tachometer or speedometer. I take it back, and they can't figure out how to fix it. But I just don't think they want to work on it. But that 15-speed, if you clutch it into third gear, it'll stick in. But I've been floating gears for 30 years. It's hard for me to get floating or shifting, with the clutch.
Yeah, if it's only on
Can that be
if you're only on third gear, that's probably not in the shift tower, and it's probably not in the shift fork. Although I would certainly
It's third and seventh.
Third and seventh.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you.
I would lift the lid and make sure, inspect my shift fork. If it was me, okay, I would make sure that my shift fork wasn't compromised for some reason. That shift fork might be completely wore the fuck out, right? That might be all it is, and it's not able to push it all the way. Number one, it could be your return springs could be just completely wore out. It's an old transmission. And then last but not least, and probably one of the more likely scenarios, is our shafts are no good, and we're about to grenade our transmission anyhow.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like after all this, I could have bought a brand new 18-speed and put in it for $4,000, and then paid. I don't know how much a reasonable price is to put a transmission in, but he told me $1,500 to get the clutch. And we put a new transmission in, it's gonna be like $3,000. I'm like, oh shit, all right. So then I go get the transmission, and I pay for that, and they had to shorten the drive line, and it's $6,800. I'm like, Jesus, I should got a brand new one for that price, maybe. I don't know. So
yeah,
they had them for $4,500 down here at the shops, and brand new. That pisses me off. But so I have to put my speedometer app on my phone and go down the road with my phone holder, and got to take 4 gallons of oil, put 2.5 gallons of Rotella in it, and 2 gallons of Lucas in it. And if I worked hard all day, by the end of the day, it's needing oil again. And it leaks a lot. It does, but I want to fix all that shit. But I got to wait till spring now because I'm all screwed up. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a shit
That's
deal.
all,
Brother.
Man. That's just my life, but
Well,
appreciate you answering my.
Yeah, I would check those things out, and if those things, if she looks like she's in good shape, that transmission's on its way out, and really that is the most likely scenario, unfortunately.
Okay.
All right, man. Have a
So
good
we got
night.
screwed. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See you. Thanks.
Bye. Do you have to change the drive shaft when going from a 10 to 18 speed? You typically don't have to change it. You're going to have to shorten it. So you take it in somewhere and they'll shorten it. It's usually pretty affordable too. We do it all the fucking time. Google Bennett Truck Center, they're in San Antonio. They're no longer Alpha Repair. I think they had to change names due to a move from North Dakota. They didn't have to change names. They decided to. Yeah, Bennett Truck Center is the best place in the United States. And I'm not just saying this because they're my kids. They are the best place to buy differentials and transmissions, no doubt about it. They have the best warranty, the best prices, and the best service, hands down. I wish they were around when I was doing trucking. What what is the max horsepower I can safely run from my 3406E model running Alaska? I mean, honestly, 550, you know, but that really depends on what it came factory rated at. If it came factory rated at like a 435 and you put a 550 tune on it, it's going to tear it apart. So I would actually need a little more detail to answer that question completely. And how the hell do we still have as many colors as we had before? Frank, you're on the air, brother.
Yes, I got a cat, the 3406, and on a pull or even letting off on the field, there'll be a popping noise. Well, we had it at cat, and they're blaming they're guessing it's the cam.
What kind of engine was it again?
The 3406 cat, the 1LW.
Okay, that helps. 1LW overhead cam. And it's doing what exactly again? I know you just told me, but I just want to make sure.
On a hard, well, on a pull, she'll pop off once in a while. It's like a backfire, or when I let off on the fuel, the Jake don't come on, it'll just be a popping noise.
Okay, and they're saying they think it's the cam?
Yes.
No. If you have camshaft damage, it's not going to happen in a specific time, right? Mechanical problems like that don't come and go. It'll be all the time.
And they looked at the Jake and they said the Jakes were okay. They didn't take apart. They just said they looked at them.
Well, I have Jake brakes here that I know for a fact are giant pieces of shit. But if you look at them, you would never. I mean, you have no way of knowing by looking at them. I'm just saying, they all look the same. You know, Bobby Reed, who's actually a buddy of mine from Alaska, he says run the rack. That is a good suggestion. Running the rack first, just to eliminate as that being a possibility. If you're getting a popping noise, you know, another guy asked, is the popping noise coming through the exhaust or is it coming through the air filters? That is a really good question as well. If it's coming through the exhaust, we're probably not dealing with a valve. I mean, we could be, but we're probably not dealing with a valve. We're probably dealing with some kind of fueling issue. The first thing I would do is run a injector cutout test to make sure we don't have a bad fuel injector. But you know, again, going back to my buddy James, and you know, I'm always going to appreciate the way when he was here on the show, you know, he kept telling everybody, well, you have to do the process of elimination, right? And so that's where you're at right now. You got to do this process of elimination. You know, you could run the overhead like Bobby suggested, just to eliminate that being a cause. It's a really easy thing to do. Most shops, you know, if you need to take it somewhere, that's a really easy engine. You know, 2 to 3 hour max is all you should get charged for that. And it needs to be done anyway every so often, so you're not really throwing your money away. Same shop, you should be able to run an injector cutout test. They should be able to do that for you. Then you're going to do that process of elimination. It really narrows down to the things that it can be, but the potential for it to be those things exists. So you need to eliminate those first.
Okay.
I mean, it could be the throttle position sensor. It could be a myriad of things, right? But you have to go through the process of elimination first.
No, so it's not the cam. You don't think it's cam. That's good. Okay.
It certainly could be, but you would think if the fuckers had the valve cover off and they were looking at the Jake brakes to tell you that they were good, they would have looked at the cam.
Yeah, it was at cap for over a month. They were looking at it. So that's what they came up with, the cam.
They were looking at it for over a month?
They had it at their shop for a month.
You need to go somewhere else.
That's what they came up
You need to go somewhere else where people are willing to do a process of elimination that's not bullshit. And I
Yeah.
highly recommend you suggest to them that you would like an overhead and an injector cutout test done, and start doing that process of elimination yourself.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. How much do you know about Custom Truck? I know a lot about Custom Truck. I deal with them all the time. I have been attempting quite hard to get the owner. There's several owners, though. They're all brothers. Trying to get them here on the show. About every month, I work them over trying to get them on the show. Custom Truck has fan hub for Acer with 2 options, on-off and 2-speed. What is the difference, or which one is better? Can you get one for a 640 build? I would just get an on-off. I wouldn't fuck around with 2-speed stuff. Anyway, Gary, you're on the air. I think it's Gary. What can we do for you?
Yeah. Hello. Well, yeah, Gary was my dad's name. I've had this cell phone for since I was a teenager. So I just bought W900 with a 6NZ in it, and it's got 1 million miles on it, almost 1.1, and it hasn't been rebuilt yet. But right now I'm running a T600 with the E model in it. They're pretty much connected to each other. I was wondering, I've never had to deal with doing any of that kind of work in a truck that I own yet. I'm relatively new. This is my 3rd truck. What do you think I would need to really watch for when I know it's time to? Will I obviously know, or will I just compare the way it's running to how this E model is running before I know I need to get some work done to it?
Well, yeah. Let me answer that question. And I'm trying to think of the best way to answer that question.
And I'm hauling water in North Dakota right now with it too. So.
Oh, right on. So
I'm going to be doing.
Here's the thing, and most catastrophic failures that happen on engines happen entirely because the symptoms are ignored into catastrophic failure. Most things don't just magically happen. You know what I mean? There's an underlying issue, and we ignore it because we need to keep running or whatever it is, and we're trying to make money, and we're just kind of hoping that it doesn't escalate. But a mechanical engine doesn't have a lot of margin for error. So once it starts to have issues, they accelerate pretty rapidly in and out. To answer your question, I'd like to answer your question like this. I used to have shit tons of my own trucks, and I had several mechanics that worked for me, all up to 7 mechanics that were just there to work on my trucks. Okay. And it was always a point of contention. I would bring all my guys in for meetings, and I would drill into their head that, because the mechanics all think the drivers are dipshits, right? And maybe some of them were, but the mechanics unequivocally couldn't stay on the drivers. They're dumber than fucking shit. Because they understand the engines, and these mechanics, they don't know shit, or these drivers don't know shit, and this and that. But I would always yell at them and say, you have to listen to the driver. You have to listen to the driver. I don't care how dumb you think they are. You have to listen to the driver, because nobody knows better than the driver that there's something wrong with the truck. Now, they may be too fucking stupid to know what's wrong with it, and it might be blatantly obvious to that mechanic, and he starts to build up this animosity over time. He's like, man, these guys are so dumb. It's so obvious what's wrong with it. But nobody knows better than the driver that there's something wrong, right? He may not know what's wrong, but he knows that something is different today than the last 3 months he's been operating that truck. It's like all of a sudden something's not the same as it used to be. So whether they're dumb or not is totally irrelevant to the fact that the driver is the best metric for knowing if there's something wrong with the truck in the first place. And I would get all over my mechanics. I don't want to hear about how the mechanic or the drivers are fucking stupid. you need to listen to them. And I would always make the drivers fill out gripe sheets. Always. They didn't get paid until the gripe sheets were done, right? Because it's so important that the driver translates to the mechanic that something isn't the same as it used to be. That's how you find problems. So you're the driver of the truck. Nobody is going to know when there is a change from what has been normal over time and something needs to be addressed. So to answer your question, will you know? Yes, you'll know. Will you decide to act on that knowledge? That's up for debate, right? Will you be a guy with a rod hanging out the side of the engine? I have no clue. But yes, nobody's going to know better than you are.
Okay. And then, I mean, this, I've never really heard you talk about this. I have like another question. I've been recently talking to this other guy up here. He's been up here for about 20 years, and he runs propane on his trucks as like a supplement. And he has an extra kit, and he like swears by it. And I was thinking about putting that on one of my trucks. Do you know anything about that? Like, is that a good idea, or should I stay away from that?
To do what?
Running propane as a supplement to the diesel, like through the.
No. Don't listen to all these goofballs. The truck is designed to work very well the way that it is.
Okay. Right. Then, well, I guess, I mean, I didn't really have any, that was a crazy question, but it's funny because I haven't actually started using that yet. I still need to get it ready. I just barely bought it. And so I guess that's what I was wondering, since it's such high mileage compared to like the e-model I'm running right now has got 1.2 million on it, but it's been rebuilt with a platinum kit. It was like that when I bought it. I've put about 80,000 miles on it in the oil field. So I guess the driver, what you get, since I haven't used it yet, what I should be looking for is if it performs the same as this one, I guess, since they're both tuned to 550 and they got 355 rear ends. And
yeah, I mean, of course, an engine is an engine, right? So there's going to be some crossover.
Yeah.
But that one also might vibrate like I mean, there could be a myriad of different things. But yeah, just use your common sense, man. Keep track of oil consumption and do, for the love of God, take oil samples every once in a while.
Okay. So maybe I should send an oil sample in before I start using it, and then after
I would have done an oil
start
sample
doing that
before I bought the damn thing, but yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Bye. Why stop with propane? Let's just do nitrous. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, 4 callers. Let's get through them, and maybe we'll have a little time left here to hang out in the comments section. You guys have been a lot of fun tonight. It's great to be back. Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the help in the comment sections. You're on the air, brother. I'm not seeing a name. What can we do for you?
Hey, my name's Joe. I've got I guess a 2-part question, because I know you prefer talking about cats, but I'm currently sitting in a 2013 Mack Pinnacle trying to regen it. I wasn't sure if you had any suggestions in that direction.
Well, fortunately,
we just replaced all the sensors.
Fortunately, we usually boast a pretty good menu of mechanics and experienced people in the comment section. So, just, I may not know anything about Macs or Volvos or something, but there seems to always be somebody that does. So, so you're trying to, what do you mean by trying to regen it?
So it's at a 0% soot. We just replaced every sensor from the turbo back in the regen system. So go through and do a regen for about 6 hours and then fail out.
MP7
And
or
I'm going to take it from
MP7 or MP8?
MP8.
And what else were you saying there?
So I ran it today from no temperature down to nothing major. Ran 50 regen all day. Boss said, screw it, get it back to the shop. We'll try it. And it's been sitting here in regen since 4 o'clock. It's now 9:50.
I mean, obviously we deal with a lot of stuff that has DPFs on them and stuff like that. We don't have to deal with that engine to have to deal with DPF. They're on a lot of engines. And, you know, from what I've seen, if you're having regen issues like that, it's almost always because the DPF filter needs a cleaning. And, and if it's been recently
so I've tried,
and you're right back to the same bullshit, then you most likely are getting it dirty really fast by an improperly working EGR or something of that nature.
Yeah. So I've tried, I guess there's 3 different regens on this. There's like the SCR crystal sublimation regen. And then there's the standard regen. And there's a third one. I've tried running all through a Snap-on scan tool. A Raleigh scan tool that they loaned us for a while. It's kind of hit or miss. And it seems like it does better running it just off of the switch on the dash. But I'm just not sure.
Yeah, that
I mean, the truck's in gear, right? And I get all. Sorry, you were saying?
Well, I mean, so you're saying it works better when you do a force regen? Is that what you're trying to say?
Like doing a force regen doesn't seem to trick ECU to rejuice the filter, but the truck still thinks it needs a regen. And then doing it off the dash, sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes it works, and sometimes you end up stuck in a loop. I wasn't sure if you or anybody in the comments had any success in these.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're having an issue with the DPF filter itself, but the problem with those fucking things and why guys end up deleting them is because they're curious of the problem. You know, the exhaust leaks, pre-DPF, cracked filters, all kinds of people are saying different things. Here's the thing, though, is like if this was a Cummins, and I don't know enough about the Mack truck, okay, but if this was a Cummins, I would hook up to it with a computer. In the computer, there's a 98% chance the computer is going to tell me exactly why the damn thing won't complete its regen cycle, and I can fix it, right? Whether it's a sensor or something like that. So I'm going to guess you need to get somebody that has the appropriate Mac software and have them tell you what actually needs to be done. And you'll probably save yourself a shit ton of money over guessworking what it actually is causing this problem.
Okay. If you've got time, I've got a cat question as well.
Hit me with it.
So the truck I normally run is a 89 379 with a 350 horse 3406B. And I've been going back and forth with Cat trying to get part numbers I don't have the 3-digit engine code because the label's gone, but Peterbilt says it was shipped to 350 horse, 400. Caterpillar says that means that it's got a different crank, but they can't tell me what the difference is. Do you know what the actual difference? The local cat guys say 400 and down is one set of internals, and 401 and up is another set.
Mm-hmm.
Is that anything you've
Yep.
run into, or is that
Yes.
parts jockey just making some shit up?
No, there's about 6 different configurations that it could have.
Okay.
So if you go to the passenger side, in the very back, and on about 1/4, maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of the way from the deck height, whatnot, but it's there. Passenger side, all the way in the back, not like against the damn firewall, but it's in the back third, and about 1/3 of the way down. It's right there. Find it.
All right.
All right, brother.
And that'll rule out whatever it is. Awesome. Thank you.
That's going to tell you exactly what you need to deal with.
Okay. We've been going back and forth with them forever.
Yep.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
All righty then. Okay. We have 3 more callers. Oh, you fucker, you snuck in there. We only have 2 more callers and 1 more snuck in there. Let's get to these 2 that have been hanging on forever. Leon, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. What can we do for you?
You almost need to have a screen for your calls.
Yeah. Right. Nah.
Hey.
Nah.
I have an 85 359 with a 7FB. I lost my air compressor coming home a couple weeks ago. I barely made it in my driveway, so I changed the air compressor with a Cat air compressor, put it back together, and I still had an engine knock after that. So I replaced the nozzles. I figured out those were my nozzles. Number 2, 3, and 5 were bad. Number 2 was really bad. And so I replaced all of them. I replaced the O-rings in the crossover tube. Ran the overhead on the jig, put everything back together, and I still hear a slight knock, a little bit of above idle. So the only thing I can think of would be a push rod. Am I wrong?
I have no clue, of course, but well, I mean, my first thought when you're telling your story there is how do we go from air compressor problem to 3 bad nozzles?
So when you get used to driving a truck so long, you almost don't hear the things going wrong with your motor after hearing everybody else's motors.
I think it's exactly right.
Yeah. So when my air compressor went out, I had a loud knock, and I didn't have a knock in my engine. So I replaced the air compressor, and still had a knock in my engine. So I cracked my fuel lines at the pump and figured out 2, 3, and 5. Whenever I would crack the lines, that's where the knock would go. So I decided to change my nozzles. Well, all 3 of those nozzles were bad, but number 2 was really bad. And not to mention, my overhead was well overdue.
You probably had push rod.
Okay.
It's probably why you were getting readings like that on those nozzles. They probably weren't bad.
Right.
to be honest with you.
Well, that's the only question I have for you tonight, and I appreciate you answering that.
All right, brother, figure out which one it is and make sure that your keeper didn't come out and your tappet turned sideways. Make damn sure you don't just put it back together and not check all that.
Okay.
Because usually what happens...
Should I do a compression test?
Well, let's fix your problem first. But what happens is if that, you lose tension there, that tappet's able spin in its axis. And if it does, it will tear the cam up. And if it's not addressed or not caught, it will also waller out that bore. And to fix that bore, you're better off buying a whole new block. Because Cat is the only people in the country that have the tools to fix it, and they're going to charge you more than a new block.
Right. I've got a push rod coming. It should be here Friday, and hopefully that's my only problem.
Yeah, make sure it's the only problem. All right, brother?
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Buddy with the DD15, Nick Williams, brother. I gotta drop your call. It's you're way too late to the game, and I'm already quite a bit past the time here. Andy Maxwell, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you? Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. What can I do for you?
Yeah, this is Andy. I'm up from Dakota here, and I'm glad I'm your last call because I have a few questions for you. And a lot of these you probably answer on your Facebook page, but I'd rather hear them come straight from your mouth. Fleet rebuilds. I run a fleet of around 30 to 40 and rebuilding 10 to 15 engines a year. On these rebuilds, what can I add as far as aftermarket parts to help extend the life and longevity, and as well as increase the driver's likability to wanting to drive these trucks?
Oh God, I don't think you can ever do anything to make the drivers happy. From elite seats to drop visors and ape hangers, I don't think it's impossible. But to answer your other question, when you're talking about it, let me be when a driver happy, you're talking about subjective like, right? So what is a driver like? Well, that can vary from person to person. So that's not even something I would pursue and worry about. But the answer,
I guess that was my secondary question. The first part of the question was, what can I do as far as
as far as the longevity of the engine, in my opinion, we've worked very, very hard to come up with a parts line that it revolves entirely around increasing the longevity of the engine, from Teflon coating rods and mains and cam bearings and stuff like that, and ceramic coating pistons to get more efficiency out of them. Coating your, coating all the turbos and manifolds, and then obviously the even more cutting edge stuff that we're doing with all of the Isotrick super finishing. Am I a believer in all those things? 100%, right? We've seen in real time how big of a difference those things make. Outside of that, there's really not a whole lot out there there's all these other gimmicks, and I really consider them gimmicks, like fire ringed heads and raised liners and all these other things out there. I don't believe those things actually increase the longevity of the engine. I've certainly never seen it. So, and it depends on what behavior. Number one thing you can do to a Cummins, in my opinion, is put an aftermarket intake on it and a good exhaust on it. An aftermarket exhaust on it, some kind of performance intake and exhaust, that dramatically helps increase their longevity. So some of it comes down to the engine that you're running. and not getting caught up in the bullshit of deleting the shit out of your entire fleet of trucks and letting some jackass come in there and turn them all up to 700 horsepower, and all your drivers are super happy, but your pocketbook sure isn't, because every truck is in the shop. And you said something about having 30 to 40 trucks and you do 10 rebuilds a year. I'll be honest with you, that's kind of a problem. That's a lot of rebuilds for that amount of trucks.
I thought so.
And it sounds like, usually when I'm talking to a guy that's dealing with that kind of turnover, it's usually
a lot of them are used trucks, bought auctions and stuff. So I know going into it that they were coming too. So sure. I knew that. So I guess going into the rebuild, I guess is knowing that what you'll extend what you had.
So, not just that though. I mean, I feel for you if you're doing that many builds. So I want to try to help you out as much as I can here.
Yeah.
There's if you're doing that many builds, even if you're buying used trucks, there's some kind of disconnect there. And most of the time, if I dig a little bit, I'm going to find out that there's some bad tuning going on, and that's what's taking all your engines out. And I'm curious if kind of engines you're running, are these all Cummins engines?
30 to 40, plans of moving that to 50 to 60. As far as keeping engines on the shelf, in frames versus full engine swaps, and my cost of tuning. And I train my guys to do the propping to know how that's an
right. So what kind of engines are you running?
Majority of ISX, X15s, and C15s. 3406Es.
And all right, so I'm gonna guess that the main disconnect in what's causing you to have such a high turnover is whoever's doing the tuning on these.
That's good to know.
I'd almost guarantee it, to be honest with you. I just don't want to be presumptuous and
Well, I guess none of all of that tuning is done prior to buying. So I bought the truck, had the rebuilding, and then they've tuned them. So I've never had to retune anything that I've had rebuilt, or I've never had any problems with anything that I've had rebuilt yet.
So why didn't you tune them when you got them?
I guess when I first picked them up and didn't go and look at them that way, that is bad due diligence on my part.
Okay.
Live and learn, I guess.
I will tell you that. In fact, there's probably less than would fit on one hand in the entire United States that aren't going to fucking destroy your engine and shorten your engine life and cause you all kinds of grief. So I would make real sure that that's not where most of my problems are coming from.
Okay. Next question. Oil samples. Do I wait on the problem, or do I rely on the oil sample to tell me what I'm seeing and start before the when I'm talking this, I'm talking rebuild process or whatever I got to do to, like when we're dealing with that 40 to 50, I try not to put it off. So do I rely on what the oil will tell me, or do I wait for a problem?
Well, so what I've noticed in the last 15, 16 years is anybody that does overhaul stuff ahead of the problem becoming the point where it had to park the truck, usually get away with spending about a third. Right? So, if, let's say you start experiencing blow by, as an example, and you go in and you overhaul it, and you end up spending, 14, 16,000 to overhaul it versus you just go. Next thing you know, you're in the damn thing 40,000, right? 100%. Getting ahead of it is much more affordable in the long term. But oil samples do tell you a lot. I know, if you're willing to do them, you got to keep up on them. The oil samples are going to start telling you if you're seeing premature bearing wear and things like that, and you're starting to get coolant in your system and your oil, and it's going to tell you a lot. So if you're doing oil sampling, yes, you should be able to stay on top of things that need to be addressed way before they need to be addressed.
Okay. And my last question, more so for everybody up here, the proper place to add airline antifreeze into a braking system or to deal with any kind of methanol or airline antifreeze in a system.
So the best way to do it is to put a sniffer on post air dryer. If you're not willing to put sniffers on them, then if you're just going to dump airline antifreeze in them, pouring it in post air dryer is the only time it ever does anything effective. It doesn't do anything to pour it in before the air dryer. What I always did, is at the beginning of winter, we'd bring all the trucks in, and we would pop plugs of the tanks, make sure we drained all the water out of them. Then I'd pop plugs out of the top, and we would put a quart or two in every single tank. And then from there, all of my trucks had sniffers, and we would also periodically add some down the pipe if we felt like we needed to. And yeah, I always pour some down the glad hand before I hook up to a trailer. Somebody said that in a comment. I don't think I've ever hooked up to a trailer when I didn't pour about half a quart or even a whole quart down the damn glad hand before I put it on there. Somebody said, what's a sniffer? Sniffer is an alcohol dispenser that you put in line after your air dryer, and it will periodically put alcohol into the lines as you're driving.
Hey, thank you. You have answered all of my questions and got me headed in the right direction.
Good luck, brother man.
Thank you.
Yep, bye. Honestly, when you get to that level of trucks, seriously, to the level of trucks John has, he really doesn't even need to worry about the longevity of the engines because the drivers tend to burn them up way before their lifespan. And most of the time it's from some kind of external event, mostly related to coolant losses. And I'm sure he probably already knows that, but that's the unfortunate truth of it. You want to get ahead of your drivers when you own that kind of trucks and make sure that you're keeping up on all those hoses. Make sure there's no friction points, because drivers will just keep on driving after they've lost their coolant. So, wrap all them hoses in loom, make sure everything's tied up, make sure the hoses are good, make sure we got good clamps, make sure the mechanics are checking for leaks all the time, for sure. When truck shopping, should I stay away from a single turbo Acert? Honestly, probably. We get so many of them in here that are so fucked up. The configurations on them are so fucked up. And be honest with you, probably you should probably stay away from buying a single turbo Acert from somebody. Nick Williams, if you're the guy that calling, I keep dropping your call to be honest with you, because I'm trying to get out of here, but you are persistent. So let's just go ahead and what can I do for you, man? What can I do for you? Nick, you're on the air, brother. Yep, hit me with it.
Hey, brother. Yeah, sorry about that, man. So, the two things I want to talk about, right? So I have a DD15, a 26 Freightliner Cascadia. I bought it with like 500,000 miles, but I took the DPF out and it's running good. I'm about like 931,000 miles in, and I have no issue, no blow by, no nothing. I'm wondering. I need your advice on something. I'm wondering like what I should do. This is my second warranty that's about to expire, and I haven't shit with it, right? So I want to know, should I put some cash aside to buy a rebuild for it, or just save up and get like a Detroit 16 put in it?
I mean, so you're getting close to 1 million miles, right?
Yeah.
It's probably going to go more. Going to go 1,200,000, 1,300,000, 1,600,000. It's not unheard of on that engine, right? Especially with the proper maintenance.
Okay.
You're probably getting closer to the end of the lifespan, but you're probably looking at somewhere between 50 and 80,000 to repower that thing. Okay, the truck most likely is not worth anywhere near that. Okay, there are options. I've mentioned it several times on the show tonight. You know, you can the best options that I have found for the DD15s is to get a long block drop-in. That's the most efficient, the most cost-effective route that you can go. I'm sure there's other people, but I use Worldwide Diesel for that. And I just get, it could be anywhere 18, 24, some thousand like that. So it's very reasonable. You send them your engine, they send you theirs, you drop it in, and you got a new engine again, and you just got to pay some place to do the removal and install and go check it. That's going to be a cheaper option than having some shop rebuild the damn thing. It just is.
Okay.
But either
I was just so all over the place, didn't know what to do.
Either of those options are much, much more affordable than repowering it. You're better off probably selling it while it still runs good and buying a different truck if you're going to go the repower route. Now, don't let me talk you out of it. I'll repower it tomorrow. Let's go. Yeah. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm all about it, but this show isn't for me to try and talk you into dumb shit. The show is to give you my opinion of what I would do if it was mine. It's how I try to approach everything.
Okay. And the other thing I've been having issue with is I went to and pick up another one, and my secondary air tank it just lose air to 60 psi. I mean the primary is good, and it won't build any air. And until I bleed it, and then it'll build back up, and then when I hook it up and like press the trailer brake and it'll like take a while before it build back up. So eventually it did build back up, and I was doing some research on it, and I seen that that people were saying the secondary air has a valve inside of it, and that goes bad, and it will just air.
But I would also be checking to make sure your service components aren't, you don't have a leaking brake can or something like that. You need to be watching.
I'm wondering like if I should buy a tank.
I think you should walk around the thing and get it all the way aired up and turn it off and walk around that thing and find out where it's leaking air. That's most likely it's probably leaking air.
Yeah, I mean, I did do it. I went underneath it and so forth. I listened at where the fan clutch is underneath it, and I don't hear any ear leaks. It's strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I might take it to a shop, a professional, like, give me a second opinion, but I was, in my head, I was like, man, I'm going to go to the dealer and just buy a damn air tank and just swap it out and see if the problem like still there.
It's so unlikely. I wouldn't start there. Spend a lot of money to do that. And if you do it yourself, you're going to spend a lot of time. That is a motherfucker of a job. It sounds really easy, but that is a motherfucker of a job. I'm not saying it's not the problem.
Cool.
I'm not saying it's not the problem, but I would not start there.
Okay. Okay. So once air in the tank, it wouldn't be losing unless I have an ear leak, right? So
I mean,
that'd be an ear leak somewhere.
I take it by somewhere, and just tell them, hey, I'm just trying to find out why this is happening. Don't stick it in my ass.
All right. Cool, man. I appreciate your answers, man. All right.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
All right, man. You too.
Bye.
All right.
And that fucking guy called like 50 times. He wasn't about to let me get out of here without talking to him, which is fine, I guess. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Had a lot of people tune in tonight. Good time. Yeah, good night, American Iron. Thank you. What do I think of the MXS with the 17-1 Pistons? I think that was an option that people used at one time because there was no 16-1s available. Yeah, 17-1 Pistons belong on your 6 1/4 acer. They don't do nearly as good of a job as dropping it all the way down to 16. 17-1 was something that guys, including myself, would do way back in the day before 16-1s were available. So there's no reason to do it these days at all. Thank you for not rolling your eyes when I call. Do that. Oh, man. Anyway, guys, you all have a good night. Appreciate you joining me. Somebody asked, he said, show, will this be? Yes, man, we've been doing this for a while. Every Wednesday night, 7 to 9. Well, 7 to 9:30-ish, apparently. Every Wednesday night, Central Time, 7 to 9. I try to make myself available. You're welcome to join in the comments, call in. The whole show is the only purpose is just to give some of my time back to everybody else. Try and help as many people as we possibly can, with no agenda. Not trying to sell anybody anything or promote anything. Just to be on here and interact with everybody. Because man, we help a lot of people on here. It's great. And the reason that we do this show, the reason I started this show, if anybody's wondering what would possess her to do this all the time, is we would get inundated with calls throughout the week, in the hundreds, literally. And it still happens. But we get hundreds of calls a week. People just are trying to call, and people will call multiple times. They just want to talk to me for a minute and ask me a question. And so by doing this show, it allows the girls that work here in the office say, hey, you just need to ask Aaron a question. Here's the phone number. He's available 7 to 9 Central Time Wednesday nights. And so it gives an opportunity for the girls that work here to give something to people so they will stop calling nonstop, to be honest with you. But and I tried for the 3 years to take as many of those calls as I could, and it started to just when I could handle more I could handle a long ass time ago. Gives me an opportunity but I always enjoyed. I used to always say we fix more trucks of our own than we ever do. And I'd like to still think that I'm able to do that. That's always been something that I've enjoyed, is been able to help people fix their stuff and not have to come see someone like me. That's the purpose of this show, is to have an outlet where people can ask me questions, and to do something that I honestly enjoy, is trying to help out as many people as I can. And the shops are so nasty out there these days. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it's just a fact that shops are so nasty these days. Guys go in for the simplest problems, and there's so much knowledge out there, and we can help each other figure things out and try and keep as many people out of shops as we can. Where you go in and and you have this problem that was something we could have solved really easy, and you end up spending $15,000 because you got bent over by some shop and they didn't even fix the fucking problem. This show's a good spot for that. And I want to shout out to everybody that comes on here and takes their time as well. Just because you're not behind this mic doesn't mean it's not your time. Your time is as valuable as mine, but all the people that repeatedly come here. I see the same faces over and over. Guys coming here and just helping out as many people as they can in the comment sections and helping me answer questions as well. I certainly don't know everything. I want you guys to all know I appreciate the shit out of everybody that comes here and participates and helps me help everybody else, and that helps everybody else all on their own. So love you guys all a long time. We will see you soon. Keep your eyes on. We have so much cool shit coming out. I can't wait. I can't wait to show all you guys. I don't know if you guys saw that video I put out today of the isotropic super finishing. I've been working on that process for the last couple weeks. We have a couple more machines coming. It's so fucking cool. It's such a cool process. I'm so excited about it. Finished our first manifold today. And the inside manifold just like glass. So we're gonna own performance manifold. We're not gonna put our name on somebody else's shit. So we're able to take affordable manifolds, do the process ourselves. I mean, I'm not even sure a lot of these manifolds out there that are being sold as performance manifolds or even performance manifolds. You know, their castings bigger and this and that, but what needs to be focused in on is the turbulence inside the manifold to move the air with reduced or even zero turbulence and ceramic coated to transfer more of that thermal energy to kinetic energy. All stuff. That's what the interest is. Super bringing it all together. But anyway, I will catch you guys soon. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I think it's the last or the second to the last video I posted. That process is super cool, guys. I will see you next week. Love you long time.